And we're going to be discussing stalls. So previously, I explained to him the four forces of flight, and one of those, of course, being lift, which will pertain to today. We will just quick review, so we know that um, the that lift is produced by airflow over the wings, low pressure on top, high pressure on the bottom. Speed, that high pressure wants to go up, causes lift, right? We discussed it, so we don't want to go too much into detail for it. But we know the chord line is an imaginary line drawn from the leading edge to the trailing edge, and the relative wind coming to the chord lines, the difference between the chord line and the relative wind, we call it the angle of attack. The angle of attack is um, it is important because there's what's called the critical angle of attack. So um, when we go out flying today and we practice stalls, when once you feel that buffet, once you see that we're no longer maintaining, once we start losing lift and we start going down, you'll know that we're not producing enough lift. You'll know that we've exceeded that angle of attack. That angle of attack is the same. It's the same angle no matter your airspeed, no matter your configuration, and that's important because some people may think that, oh, I'm going fast enough, I'm not going to exceed my critical angle of attack. That's not necessarily true because it's not about your airspeed, but it's about your angle of attack. So just to be clear, when stalls occur, it's not that it's producing no lift, but it is producing insufficient lift. And so what we want to do in this instance is when we practice stalls, you'll pitch back, you'll exceed that angle of attack, and then you'll reduce that angle of attack. You'll want to pitch down, and you want to go full power. You want to start increasing that airflow over the wings again to produce more lift. More lift is what we need to stay in the air. So, if, for instance, obviously you've already touched up on the P-hack and you've read some of those things regarding stalls, which I just explained to you, and based off of what you've read from the airplane flying handbook, when we talk about power on stalls, you'll notice that you're going full power, and you can still exceed that angle of attack. So what we're demonstrating here is a stall on takeoff or go rounds, and you'll notice that when you pitch down, build up more airspeed, more airflow over the wings, it will help, and of course you'll break that stall. So that's why we practice stalls. So we don't just practice them to scare people. We practice them so that when these things occur, they could occur on accident, and they do happen on accident. Then you know what to do. You know how to react, and you know how to recover, stay calm. Right? You've practiced them before. You've heard the stall horn. You felt the buffet. Then you'll know. Okay, reduce that angle of attack. Increase my power. Let me get out of here. Let me really try to keep enough lift going so we can stay in the air. So there is this one video which I want to show you, and it's of a test, pilots testing a plane and intentionally causing a stall so that they tied these sort of ribbons on the wing, so you can actually see how when that airflow is no longer smooth over the wing, it will it will sort of ruffle and it will um, decrease the lift. So you can see there at the end how once they exceeded, you could tell where they exceeded that angle of attack, because then there's that airflow separation, and once you get that airflow separation, of course, um, then you'll know that you've exceeded the critical angle of attack. And I don't expect you to remember all these things when we're practicing stalls, but there are certain things you can be mindful of so that you can so you know why they happen and you know what to do when they do happen. So thank you for watching this, and here are the resources I used. Thank you.